All right. Are y'all ready on Jose Sanchez?
We are just.
Mr. Sanchez is here. All right, court is calling 2022 CR 10642, State of Texas versus Jose Sanchez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense.
Carolyn Wetland for the defendant.
And are you Mr. Sanchez? Counsel, you've received all the discovery,
I have, Your Honor.
and did you review it with your client?
I did, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Sanchez, did you review the document entitled Application for Community Supervision with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor, but waiving the habitual offender enhancement allegation.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with felon in possession of a firearm? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial? A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine, and the state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea? Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 150 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
Saying that exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Wavering Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same.
It is, like the word went and land. Yeah, WENTLAND.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, states you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I wanted to ask the court to consider the possibility. I know that the recommendation of the state is 5 years probation. I also know that our agreement is for like a 5-year TDC underline. I know that I wanted the court to just at least consider the possibility of something a little bit shorter. He has, at the time that this offense occurred, totally upfront with the court, he was on parole. He was actually doing well on parole, as well as you can be doing with, being ending up with a firearm in the vehicle you're in. And he spent 9 months in custody waiting for this case to, come to fruition. And then, his parole terminated. He was able to make bond. Since then, he's continued to work. I do know that he's going to be eligible to get off a little bit early, but I would ask the court to consider something shorter, the possibility of 3 or 4, because people of his income level, he is fighting really hard to do well at this point of his life. And I really do believe that if he's able to stay out of trouble for 3 years, I don't think he's one of those people that's ever going to be able to really come back and petition to get off early. Everyone knows that costs money. It's not easy for people to do. The court
Oh,
can,
in this court it is. You just tell your probation officer, and the probation officer will come to me, and then I'll have you come in and make a decision on whether or not I'll let you off early.
if that is what happens, that is great, because what I have happen is usually probation officers tell people they have to get an attorney and that we have to file a motion and we
Not
have
in
to
this
get them
court.
off early.
No, in this court, what ends up happening is sometimes the probation officer will tell the defendant, hey, you've done everything. You may want to approach the court about getting off early, and then I'll get a report, and then I'll have the person come in and I'll make a decision on whether they get off early or not.
Well, that's good to know, Judge, because I was not aware of that. And that being said, I still would like the court to possibly consider that maybe a little less than 5, but I do understand if the court, what we will respect whatever the court's decision is. I do believe that he is, he's been in and out of trouble for a lot of years of his life, and he has really made a lot of strides, even once he was on parole, to do a better, a better job with himself.
Okay. All right. Do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
2 youngest are 1 and 2.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak.
My 2 youngest are 1 and 2.
Okay.
The others range all the way up to 24, from 17 to 24.
All right. So let's go through. How many children do you have in total? All right. 9 children. We've had somebody in this court before. I think they had 13. So that's fine. So what are the ages of your 9 children? So we have the 1, the 2.
17,
Mhm.
19. The other one is 19, and then another one is 20.
Keep your voice up so I can hear.
Another one is 22. The other 2 are 24. They're like 6 months apart.
All right. So I have 1, 2, 17, 19, 21, 22, and 24. That's not 9. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 2 more.
Okay. My daughter Haley, she's 12.
Okay.
My son Xavier, he's 10.
10. All right. So do any of your children live with you?
2 years.
Okay. So are you employed? What do you do?
I do construction.
And if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be? How do you spend your days?
Go to work and I come straight back home.
And then with your 9 children?
My 9 children is usually the weekends. I'm home on Sundays, so some of my kids, they live out of town. Like my oldest son, he works on communication towers, so he's in Ohio right now. They'll come in and they'll come visit me because Sunday's really the only day I have off. I'm on monitor, so I work from 6 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. So I'm usually at work and straight back home.
All right. So you're on GPS now?
Yes, ma'am.
Any gang affiliations?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Something else for the court to be aware of.
Oh, just 1 second. Let me finish with my questions, and then I'll hear you out, counsel. So what were you on parole for?
I was on parole for theft of a vehicle
Okay.
and evading arrest.
All right. State,
Yes, Your Honor.
he's currently on GPS monitor. Do you still want him to remain on monitor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And is there a reason for you're wanting him to remain?
It's true, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And you want to respond to that?
I didn't know that they wanted him to remain because when we were here previously and they agreed to the probation, we actually had a little mini hearing about, and I was to approach and the state was gonna not comment about the monitor, so I don't know that.
Well, if y'all want to step back and discuss it, you can, or either I'll hear argument and make a decision.
It's fine if their position is I mean, I think the reason that he ended up on the monitor was because his bond was so high. You know, when he came out on parole and he had no ability to make a bond, so that's why he ended up with the monitor was kind of like his bond got lowered and then he got the monitor. So I don't, he was never on it on parole the entire time he was on parole. Prior to this case happening, he'd been on parole with, this was the violation and the only violation of his parole. That's why parole never revoked him. He just sat in jail until it ran.
Okay. So what the court sees, I know the habitual offender enhancement was waived, but I see an evading arrest and I see deadly conduct firearm. Is there anything else in his criminal history that would be considered violent, maybe? Does anyone know? I think the state is looking. If y'all need a chance to step back, because I'm going to make a decision today on whether or not you remain on the monitor or whether or not I order that it be removed. What I will tell you is that if I order you to remain on the monitor, I don't do monitors unless I deem it necessary for the entire term of probation. So just step back a minute. You all get a chance to let me know what your criminal history is, okay? All right, thank you. Michelle Davis. And counsel, your excuse. I'll take this matter up and then y'all come back and let me know when you're ready. Ms. Davis, come up. And Ms. Davis, you're in the center and defense,
Which side here?
you're on this side. No, I'm sorry. Yes, you are. You're on this side.
Any side you like.
No. In my mind, I have to think what the deputies wanted. And so the deputies do want you on this side.
Okay.
We used to have defense attorneys on this side, but then for security reasons, the deputy asked that you all be moved on this side. It's been a long week for me, even though it's just Monday. The weekend was very long for me. All right, the court is calling 2023 CR 8542, State of Texas versus Michelle Davis. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Michelle Thornburg for the city.
Defense.
Jose Rocha for Michelle Davis, and we're ready, Your Honor.
All right, and are you Miss Davis? Counsel, have you received all of the discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
We have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Davis, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We're waiving count 1, Your Honor, and proceeding on count 2, which is a state jail felony theft.
Okay.
That's our understanding here. Yes.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand in count 2, you're charged with the offense of theft 2,500, but less than $30,000?
Yes.
All right. That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days and up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
All right. Did you understand you have a right to jury trial?
Yes,
a
ma'am.
right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Excuse me, one moment. Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2. There's a $2,000 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's to be restitution of $7,200 to Monticello Custom Homes LP. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the
Yes,
plea?
Your Honor.
State, is that the plea? Did you review the document entitled Waiver of Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. Did you understand that's a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to count 2 in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Mm.
I'm sorry?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
Proper states exhibit 1 and attachments.
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we have reached an agreement on this case, Your Honor. My client, after reviewing all the facts, decided that she would want to move forward with a plea. She understands what's at stake here, and I know that she's going to be successful in completing this deferred adjudication, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any children?
Adults.
All right. Are you employed?
I can't work. I'm disabled.
And what's your disability?
A whole list of them, a bunch of autoimmune disorders, low scoliosis, spinal disorders, undifferentiated connective tissue disease, bunch of arthritises. I have a whole slew of disorders. They're listed in the paperwork.
All right, so
Your
when did
Honor,
this occur?
I do have documentation that I was provided by my client regarding that if the court were like.
No, I'm just wondering, when did this disorder occur? Did these disorders occur before or after this offense? Or did they?
Before I was actually on Social Security for mental disabilities and tried getting off, went to college and tried working, and apparently didn't go so well. And I had undiagnosed autoimmune disorders that were affecting me mentally, bodily, and I had emergency spine surgery actually right after that position. It was affecting my body, and then I just had all sorts of messed up stuff going on, Your Honor.
So are you currently receiving SSI?
I'm working to get there. I also didn't have insurance for a while. And so that's what I'm working towards now, because I've been disabled for a long time. I had a doctor actually during this time frame diagnose me with one disability and one autoimmune disorder and didn't tell me. And I had autoimmune disorders before that went undiagnosed, and it's been a hayride since then. So I'm getting all of that taken care of now, getting all my X's and crosses off the box so that I can get on disability. My next stop is neurology, and then back to the neurosurgeon. But I'm going to apply now because there's some extenuating circumstances with recently being cheated on, and so I have no income now and all sorts of other fun stuff.
All right. So how do you support yourself?
Working on that now. My mom lives with me and I take care of her. She's a heart transplant recipient, and so that's the income in the house right now.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot going on right now.
Oh, yes, it is a lot. But how are you taking care of your mom?
She's a heart transplant recipient and she's bedridden, and so I change her diaper, feed her, run her on her doctor's appointments and errands as best I can. And my son, who's mentally handicapped, he's got DID, bipolar, and so I keep his friends in his head in check because I'm a psych major. So I help him, and then he helps me around the house and helps with my mom. We kind of have a triangle thing going.
All right. So what I can tell you is people who are on probation in my court, I don't allow them to be home health care providers.
Well, I'm not her physical, technical home health provider, but I mean, I'm her only help, like unofficial help. She lives with me, and I mean, I have to take care of her. She's my mom. I'm her only person. That's why I'm doing this instead of going to trial.
I mean, no, here's the thing. If you want a jury trial, you can.
Oh,
But let me just explain something to you. What I've read in the stipulations is that you admitted to the owners of taking the money.
and I only did that under duress because they locked me in a room and would not. let
Oh,
me
well,
make
here's
a
the thing.
phone
If you
call.
want a jury trial,
I don't, man, because I don't.
all right, let me explain something to you. Because what I've read in the stipulations is money went to Green Dot Bank
And
account.
it's not, it's a stash card. I had a bank, a regular bank, which is Techstar Bank. And then I had a stash account, which I actually had, what do you call it? You could even do, sorry, I get brain fog because of all the autoimmune, but it was an actual bank card and I didn't know it was Green Dot or whatever. It's actually owned by another company now, but it's actual a bank.
All right,
And
so here's the thing. Monticello Homes, that organization, the people who work for that organization and own it, they say that $800 was going into TxDOT, whatever card, but it wasn't their card. It wasn't for their employee. It wasn't for anything associated with them. It was associated with you, and it was going in your account. Now, if you're telling the court that you did not steal the $800, several times to total $7,200, then we can set it for jury trial. Because what they're saying is,
they're saying I did a whole lot of stuff.
well, let me just tell you, the 4 transactions were done in the same manner. They say on July 19th, 2019, it was for $900. On August 2nd, 2019, it was for $2,000. On August 16th, 2019, it was $1,500. On August 30th, 2019, it was for $2,000. That's what they're saying. And they say those transactions were above what you would have been paid. And they said that it went to your account. And the person who's saying that it went to your account was Gregory Martin, who I guess is their financial person. And when he was looking at the billing, that he noticed discrepancies, and that discrepancy went to you. It went to your account. Now, if you're saying that you didn't steal this, then guess what? We can set it for a jury trial.
I don't trust people enough.
And it says here that you signed a statement saying that you overpaid yourself $7,200 and that you're going to pay it back.
How would you feel if 5 men took you from your office, locked you in the back of an office and wouldn't let you leave, wouldn't let you make a phone call, and wouldn't let you do anything until you signed a paper?
Well, what I can tell you is I wasn't there at the time, so I don't know if that occurred or not. What I do know is there's $7,200, and what I'm reading in the stipulations is that that $7,200 went to your account.
Right, and I'm saying, this is why I don't want to have a jury. I don't trust the judgment of people in a peers in a jury because, one, they don't want to be there. Two, I don't trust that enough people would understand office. I don't trust anything. I don't trust people. I have severe trust issues. This office, that place was a madhouse. They lied about a lot of things. I mean, I don't want to get into
Oh, no, go ahead.
I know, and that's
You
what
can
I'm
tell me.
saying. I used to have to pay the lawyer there for the legal stuff that guy in those offices did. I'm saying they made me give my password to Greg, made me leave my laptop there, which is number one thing you don't do. I'm saying there's a lot of things that went on at that place that I can't account for. There's a lot of stuff in there that can and can't be explained that I could explain, but I don't trust a jury to understand that. People do not think for themselves anymore. People, unless there's a headline news that tells them what to think. I've been around way too many people. I used to have thousands of employees that I used to hire and recruit myself. I'm sorry, I don't trust a jury to make I just don't. And even as the money, I was telling him I used to have to retype everything in. One of the gals, Donna, she used to sit there with me half the time. I was working 90+ hours a week. I would be there at 3 o'clock in the morning and I wouldn't leave until 10 o'clock at night. And then some longer. I was working the management of that. I ran that whole place. I don't even know what was up or what was down at that time. I'm just saying the reason I'm doing the plea is because I need to be there at home to care for people. And I can't chance anything. I can't take any chances of going to jail or doing anything. I'm taking this plea because I need to be there for my family because they don't have anybody else. My mom has nobody else. My grandma was horrible to my mom. I mean, downright abusive to her. And that's why I took my grandma away. Like, she got sick. I was taking care of my grandma at her house and taking care of my mom at my house. The VA was trying to kill my mom during this fiasco of this last year. I'm just trying to keep things together. And I'm sick myself. I can't even clean my house. My house, when we moved, it's still living together. I'm sorry, I just can't chance it, and I refuse to chance it. I don't trust people. I just don't. That's why I'm doing this, and I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, there's no need to apologize to me. I want to hear you because I'm the person who sets conditions and I need to see what's going on.
I'm so sorry for crying. There's a lot going on. It's been trash for the past year, and none of it's been my fault. It's just been crap, like out of my control. And I've been very emotional, and it's been since I left there, everything just went to crap. I had this surgery and it set off all the autoimmune, and my body has just been crashing. My whole life has been. go, eaten up by work and jobs, and now I can't do anything, and it feels like my identity is gone. I don't, and I know they're mad because after I left, they couldn't run anything, and I ran everything for them. They didn't know how to do anything after I left, so I know that they were mad, and I'm sorry about that too.
And Your Honor, we had an opportunity.
Just hearing what's going on here.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no
My
need to
son-
apologize.
Navy nuke engineer. And he just barely got home this week, and I mean, I was worried about him for so long during all this time too. Like he was out overseas, and like I don't know, he just got home today. So I'm so excited for that. I'm stuck here. I'm sorry. So I'm just like my husband cheated on me and then took all the money and like promised to help take care of. We were almost homeless during this time when my mom kept dying, like almost dying after like I can't take any chances. I have to be there for my mom. She almost died like 3 times in the like within 4 different months. No one can take care of her and advocate for her like I can. I mean, it's bad when you have to bypass the VA system just to get her into a better hospital because they're standing there saying colonoscopy, and I'm like, no, hematology. And guess what? This hematology she needed. I'm sorry.
No, no need to apologize. I'm just listening, trying to figure out what conditions would be appropriate for you. Is there anything else you wanted to tell me? Now is your time to talk to me.
I really want to give her my list of meds.
All right, the list of medications,
Oh,
those
my-
will go to probation.
I mean,
Yeah.
my doctors. I used to see the same doctor way back in 2010 and 2013, and even she was writing me out of work because my body couldn't handle it. That was even before I knew I had anything wrong. My body would work, I would work, and it would get so stressed out. And she would write me out for a week, and then I'd go to work, then it would be 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. So this has been going on for a long time. And I have those doctor's notes, and then I've got doctor's notes from 2014, 2018, like. So when I went back to her, she recommended that I try medical marijuana because unfortunately with all the conditions I have, I get twitches and Charlie horses and spasms that last for minutes that leave me like unwalkable. My legs give out, my arms start to fling, and as you can see, I get twitches. And so unfortunately, I have tried marijuana, and I know you don't say that in court because that's just not the thing you say, but I'm ashamed of it, but it has helped. So she recommended I go and get a legal license, and she recommended a place, and unfortunately they illegal advertised. They were like, yes, online it's $100. So they did the text thing, and then they said, oh no, it's $250 and $200 and $300 for this. I was like, that's false advertising, I'm not going there, and I gave up on it. So I found another place because she said I really, really need it because the medicine I've far exceeded the max doses on everything that she can give. And so she told me to do that. So I did that on Friday, and she wrote me a note because I can't do anything. I can't work. I said I can't even clean my house. So we've got that, and then they should try to get all of my diagnosis on here from the different doctors, and I don't know what you can do with me either. I am just, I already feel like crap. Hit me with your worst. I don't know.
So here's my question. How is she paying back First of all,
Because
there's an
I'm
agreement
going
of,
on-
just one second. First of all, a part of the plea agreement is $7,200. How are you planning on paying that back?
because I am going on Social Security soon. I know I'll be able to get that. My family has agreed to help in any way they can.
All
And
right, and which family members?
I've got family in Houston, that's agreed to help. My son that's in the Navy, he might help, but I mean, I've got 4 years to figure it out, but like I said, I was on Social Security before, so I know I'll be able to get back on it. And out of the 26 rows of disorders that I have, there's 15 of them that automatically, one alone will qualify me for Social Security. So
All right, I still don't think it's appropriate for her to be taken. I don't understand how she's able to take care of her mother when she has all of these medical issues herself. I don't understand how she's saying she's changing diapers. She's taking her to medical appointments. She is telling doctors she's being diagnosed and she's given the diagnosis herself for her mom. I don't understand how that's taking place. And then
because
I'm being told that she has all these medical conditions. She's all on all of these medications.
That's correct, Your Honor. And
And she's taking care of, I guess, her son as well.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Yes.
No problem.
I have discussed this with District Attorney's office, and I also discussed this with my client to just get around everything that's going on in her life, in addition to what happened in the underlying case, and how are we going to move forward in the future. So what does happen is some of these medications do control these issues for certain times. And during those times that are being controlled, she is helping out her mother. She's trying to do the best she can with what she has. Now, she is going through a very stressful situation. She does have a mental health diagnosis, several. And right now, she's going to the doctor and having some of these issues resolved through medication. Some of them are through therapy. Some of them are through self-care. And again, these documents that she was holding earlier, which are related to the miracle marijuana and all the other diagnoses and medications, were for the benefit of the court. And I had share those with the district attorney's office. We did go back and forth to see what would be something that she would be able to do, given the fact that she does have some limitations, Your Honor. And we ask you to take that into consideration as well.
if I may interject, the problem is with autoimmune disorders and connective tissue disorders is overexerting my body, and that's the issue with like working and being outside and doing too much. So the thing is I rest, and my mom's appointments we set up staggering. We don't like, she doesn't have a lot of appointments, and my son also helps. Like I said, he has mental disorders, but he can still help me like get her to the car, or roll her out, or help me get her into the wheelchair thing. And she stands for me to change her, so all I have to do is wipe her and pull her diaper up. So those few things are not as exerting as going to work and working. And the problem with working is I have nerve damage and stuff that, and I can't keep my hands up above, and I can't type anymore. I can't I have my arms up above my head. There's a lot of disabilities, things that impede and that sort of thing. It's overexertion with autoimmune and nerve damage. Taking care of my mother is a completely different situation than what you're talking about, full-time caring for someone. Like, I used to be a CNA, and that's completely different. I understand what you're saying, caring for a full-fledged person that is completely laying in a bed and has to be cared for 24/7, like you were a CNA in a nursing home. That is not the case with my mom.
My concern is I don't have anybody who's on probation in this court acting as a healthcare provider. Now, what do I mean by that? one of the things I mean by that is people will just have their relatives who are getting their SSI, and guess what? They go live with them and they get to receive money from
No.
being with them and taking care of them, or either they're living off that person's SSI, and that's not right.
No, that's not the case. She's been living with me. It's only just now that the circumstances have changed, and that's only due to yeah.
Going through the divorce, Your Honor. And I was appointed by this court as she was,
Before
she
when-
qualified as being indigent. And so those documents are there from the time that this case started. But to today, she's going through a lot of other personal matters that
Just her
she's just telling you.
State, do
Right
you
now.
want to speak to her taking care of her mother and taking care of her son and all of these other people who are in this household? It's sounding very chaotic to the court. And I don't know how that chaos is going to translate into her being successful in probation.
But that's been my life.
I don't have any independent information regarding any of that. Listening to this, I mean, it sounds like, I don't know what to make of it, because it sounds like there's a number of different responsibilities that sound pretty hefty and serious. And then at the same time, you know, there's an argument that she's incapable of doing anything with this case. So it seems like it's hard to believe that both are possible at the same time. So we do have a concern, and we would ask maybe that probation could look into it a little bit more and make a determination. But I know that the restitution is still due. I can speak to the information that she gave about the case specifically and the facts. We brought in the complainants in this case. We actually had a conference room full of people that worked in the office with her. I feel very confident in the facts of the case, and have no reason to believe anything was misrepresented to me. And objectively, we have money under her watch being padded into her payroll, and for her putting that into her personal account. And also the wariness that she had to turn in payroll and then go back and adjust it afterwards so that it wouldn't raise flags. So there was definitely some intent behind all of this. There was a higher level of thinking and planning with it. And that is what I do.
All right, so this thing where he's telling me she worked from 3 a.m. till all hours of the night by herself?
We don't have any information of that. That's not what was relayed to me. It sounded like a normal office environment that anybody else would have generally, and that she was responsible for limited responsibilities, which would be common for her position that she had. And there was a room full of people, so I can't speak any further than what I know.
And Your Honor, I did discuss these matters with my client and the pros and cons of going to trial. And we did have extensive conversations about how to proceed. And it was her decision to come in today and take responsibility for this and go on to 4 years deferred adjudication probation.
All right, probation.
Yes, Judge.
I think you've heard everything that's going on up here.
Yes, Judge.
So what does she need? I don't know what we can do for her.
My house is not chaotic, it's calm. It just,
Let's see what they have to say.
Judge, once the, whenever someone's granted probation, we have to go through different assessments just on a supervision level. And I think out of one of the assessments that we are mandated to do, it could give us a little bit more information. To give you clear direction on what else should be done.
Your Honor, it seems to me that
Just 1 second.
We need to do,
I'm sorry.
Just 1 second. Yes, probation.
we need to do the risk assessment
Okay.
for a fact, and that could give us the level in which she should be supervised.
And that was what I was going to be suggesting, Your Honor. I believe that maybe perhaps that would gave a better picture to
Oh,
the,
just
to
one
the,
second.
to the
Yeah.
court.
Anything else probation?
I would say that maybe, I know there probably have been some some competency issues, or we would ask that we do a mental health evaluation on our part to see if, she would fit into that supervision as well.
Mhm. All right, thank you. This is what the court is gonna do. Court is gonna sentence you to 4 years deferred adjudication. There's to be restitution of $7,200 and no contact with Monticello Custom Homes LP. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, a MIC evaluation, field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And see if probation can check on the occupants of the home and determine how many occupants are actually in the home. And then do the risk assessment for supervision. There's to be no employment related to accounting or any type of money changing hands. You're not allowed to be a cashier. You're not allowed to work with money at all. Do you understand?
Can't wait to.
Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There's to be proof of employment or SSI. Please put on your listening ears. Listen to what I'm saying. There's to be proof of employment or SSI within 45 days. And again, no employment as a home health care provider with minors or any employment as previously stated relating to accounting, cashier jobs, any job that's related to exchanging monies where she's in a position to handle funds. There's to be 100 hours of community service restitution. If for some reason she's unable to do the community service hours, she'll need to provide letter or proof from a doctor that she can't do any type of community service hours. And there's going to be the theft course. And there's a $2,000 fine, and that will be probated. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Okay. Is there anything else you need from the court?
No, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We can go off the record. In this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. If there are any issues, let your probation officer know. If you feel as though the probation officer is not addressing those issues, you can always come back to court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else you need?
No, ma'am.
All right. Make sure you give those documentation and sign a release of medical information for probation. Okay. All right. Thank you.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes. All right. Are you all ready on Mr. Sanchez?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're to go back on the record in 2022 CR 10642, Jose Sanchez. All right, so where we were is whether or not the state is objecting to the removal of the GPS. And state, you're objecting to removal?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, and what is his criminal history? Is there anything in his criminal history other than the deadly conduct firearm that was in the
only other assaultive things, Your Honor. I mean, his history was drugs and, theft type things other than what you mentioned with the deadly conduct firearm. And then he has priors, that include, family violence assaults. He has 2, that resulted in convictions on his record. He has 1 in, I believe, 2003. And I believe the other one was, and Mr. Edelman can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 2000 and 14 or 13, something like that,
13.
13. So
Those misdemeanor assaults?
one was the first one was a misdemeanor. The second one started because it was a family second and he had the prior conviction. It started as a felony.
Okay, you need
and
to
it
slow
went,
down so the court reporter can keep up.
it started as a felony and then it ended up as a misdemeanor. So
And when I say so the court reporter can keep up, she was keeping up, but why would we make her job more difficult than it needs to be? So,
I will talk slower.
thank you. So, 2 assault cases. One was the misdemeanor.
One was a misdemeanor, the other one started off as a family second,
Mhm.
and then it got reduced to a misdemeanor as well.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, may I add a bit of more information?
Yes.
Not the assaults that concern me so much as Mr. Sanchez's compliance on pretrial supervision in his evading arrest with a vehicle. When he was released on bond, he eventually accrued 4 pretrial violations that resulted in a bond increase, which became somewhat irrelevant when he failed to appear for his trial date. On his most recent case, he had a bond for which his principal asked to be released from it because he did not comply with his bond agreement and stopped reporting to the bonds.
And if I may speak to that, Your Honor, first of all, I think the evading arrest that Ms. Radelman was speaking of, obviously those cases occurred when he ended up on his parole and then he was on parole. The current one, it's my understanding that it wasn't that he wasn't, and I don't know what the bondsman may have put on there, but he was compliant in the sense that he ended up in custody. And I think that was why he ended up going off the bond, was that he ended up in custody with the parole hold. I will also say that since being on bond, he has, and he actually wanted me to mention, to thank the court because part of his release on bond included the court sending him to lifetime recovery. He successfully completed lifetime recovery and he believes that now he is really on a track for the first time in his life, although he went through all of these other types of probation and parole, but there was not a program that he felt helped him as much as the lifetime recovery program. And now he is trying to very much so step up even with his children. There are children that, yes, as the court heard, there are older children that have really struggled because they haven't had a father in his life because he's been in and out of the legal system. He is now even seeking out to help a couple of those older boys as much as he can with some of the stuff they're going through and using funds from his job to try to do that. So really, and if you look at how he's been doing on his pretrial for this case, after successfully completing that program, I don't believe he's had any violations. He said that there's been a couple times because of work or his ride getting home, he has ended up slightly late, but barely with his monitor. And every UA has been clean. And he very much so wants the chance to just be, for the first time in his life, a productive individual and a father that he feels like he hasn't been able to be until now.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. As previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 5 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. 150 hours community service restitution. The court is going to require parenting classes. Once you complete parenting classes, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There are going to be field visits 1 time per month for 4 months. And I will do GPS partial for work for 2 months. And then tracking only for 1 month. And after that 3.3 month time period, if there are no violations, let probation know, and probation will let me know, and I'll remove the GPS. Probation, there is to be regular random UAs. And probation, is there anything else he needs?
Switch this monitor to a probation monitor.
All right, so here's the thing. Probation monitor. I can't waive fees. I can sit up here and say I'm going to waive fees, but it's not going to be waived because it's a third-party contract and I can't make them waive it. Otherwise, you can end up with a GPS, but it'll be the GPS that you have to pick up at the jail. That one, fees can be waived. But with that one, if they give you a time schedule and an appointment, you've got to be there at that time schedule and that appointment. If you miss that appointment, what's going to happen? You're not going to have a GPS device and a warrant may be issued for your arrest. So normally GPS is $300 a month, I think. The one at the jail, I can ask that the fees be waived on that one, but you need to make sure you make that appointment. If you don't make that appointment, there's like no excuses. Right. All right. So I'll give him, because he needs to make a schedule with the jail probation. Is that correct? Can we do that?
No.
Oh,
I just let him know. I mean, you just tell me when he has to be there.
all right. So what we'll do then, because they're going to want that monitor back very quickly. What's your work schedule?
My work schedule usually is from 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, but if you,
No,
whatever,
I mean, what days? Is it Monday through Friday?
Monday through Saturday. But my boss he'll work with me.
All right. Well, since you were here today, Friday, is that okay? Probation or Friday?
Friday.
What time on Friday?
Can you get to probation by the jail?
Yeah, I can be there in the morning if you want, afternoon, or whatever. time.
Oh, what time are they open?
You can go like at 6 a.m., right?
I think.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I would say 8.
All right. So then if you get there at 8 o'clock, you'll probably be the first one and you'll be able to have some time at work.
It will take about 3 hours for install.
What's
all right.
their address?
The probation will give you the address. So you'll need to have the GPS exchanged on Friday, July 26th by 8 a.m. And I say by 8 a.m. You just need to be there at 8 a.m. for the appointment. And I'll ask that the fees be waived. All right, you're welcome. Yes.
Wasn't asked a question about the mental health that you sent me to.
Mhm.
They gave me a diagnosis, and I was wondering if there's a way I could get some type of information from them because my wife wants me to.
Sure. Was it through the Center for Healthcare Services? All right, I'll refer you back to the Center for Healthcare Services and they should still be able to help you. If not, just let probation know. And if they're not doing it, just come back to me. Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll continue with the referral to Center for Healthcare Services. Is there anything else you need from the court? Probation, is there anything else?
Okay.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, sir.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, and because I followed your agreement, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, we can go off the record. So I read the police report, and I will tell you what your mother said in that police report is the same thing that my mother always said to us and that my grandmother always said to them. I love you, but I'm not going to jail or prison for you. And that's what your mom said at the That's what my inside chuckle for, because it was bringing back memories with my mom saying, I love you, but I'm not going to prison for you. I'm not going to jail for you. So I admire your mother for showing up and saying, I'm not going to jail for you. So, and don't ask your mom to do that, okay? All right, good luck to you. And thank you so much for dressing appropriately for court. And if you complete everything early, come back, but do not come back to court before at least 2 years have expired. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you,
And
Judge.
probation will go over conditions with you.
Thank you.
You're on.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day. May I be excused?
Yes,
Have the excuse, Your Honor.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, Brianna Hullaby, Kashana Hullaby. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. All right, so on your case, your attorney is not going to be able to make it, and they just sent me message that they're not going to be able to make it.
Mhm.
So, are you employed?
No, no.
All right, so what I'm going to do, who did you bring with you?
No.
All right, Mom, when can you come back? Yes, yes. Because I know you're the one who's bringing her.
Yes, ma'am, I am, and I have to take off today.
Okay.
I only have one question for the court. I don't want to just be respectful. Cause we've been calling the lawyer's office. We've been trying to get in touch with someone so we can see what's going on.
All right, so this is the thing. I'm going to reset this case and that attorney will be here. Otherwise, if you need another attorney, one will be appointed. So when can you come back, Ma?
What's the earliest date? Cause I can take off. I just gotta give them enough notice.
No, I mean, I can bring you all back tomorrow. I can bring you back on Thursday.
Do you wanna come back tomorrow? I will.
Okay, see, look, she's like, no, she doesn't. Mom, when can
I
you
wanna come back tomorrow. 'Cause I wanna get this over with. I'm
All right,
sorry,
so
I don't
what-
wanna be disrespectful.
No, you're not being disrespectful.
I wanna.
We're
get
gonna
this over
we gotta
with.
recall it for tomorrow.
Okay.
Miss Ferguson, if you give them a reset for tomorrow. All right, so we'll be back on tomorrow, the 23rd.
Mhm.
All right, once she signs that, you're excused.
Now, if the lawyer doesn't come, then she'll get a.
We'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
God bless. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Please sign your papers.